Welcome back to our journey through the life of David. Today, we explore his remarkable transformation from a fugitive on the run to the revered king of Israel, the man after God's own heart. This episode unfolds David's rise to kingship, the unification of Israel, the joyous arrival of the Ark of the Covenant in Jerusalem, and God's everlasting covenant with David. After years of evading King Saul's relentless pursuit, David's faith and patience were finally rewarded. As Saul continued his relentless pursuit of David, he found himself embroiled in a fierce battle with the Philistines. On the slopes of Mount Gilboa, Saul's army was overwhelmed. Saul, wounded by archers and fearing capture, fell on his own sword, ending his life. Jonathan, the beloved friend of David and son of King Saul, also died during the same battle. The tragic news of Saul and Jonathan's death reached David, who was deeply grieved. David tore his clothes in mourning and wept for Saul and his beloved friend Jonathan. In a powerful lament, he expressed his sorrow.
Your glory, O Israel, lies slain on your heights. How the mighty have fallen! I grieve for you, Jonathan. My brother, you were very dear to me. Your love for me was wonderful, more wonderful than that of women.
The loss of Jonathan was particularly heart-wrenching for David, as the two shared a deep and loyal friendship. David's grief for Jonathan is powerfully expressed in his lament, where he mourns not only the death of a friend but also the loss of a brotherly bond that had been a source of strength and comfort throughout the trials they both faced. After this period of mourning, David sought the Lord's guidance.
Shall I go up to one of the towns of Judah?
Go up, the Lord replied. And so, David went to Hebron, where the men of Judah anointed him king over the house of Judah. This marked the first step in his journey to unite all of Israel under his reign. But David's kingship over Judah was only the beginning of a long and tumultuous road to unifying the entire nation. Ish-Bosheth, Saul's son, was made king over Israel by Abner, the commander of Saul's army. This led to a prolonged struggle between the house of David and the house of Saul. Abner was a powerful and influential military leader who initially supported Ish-Bosheth's claim to the throne. However, tensions arose between the two when Ish-Bosheth accused Abner of dishonoring Saul's memory by taking one of Saul's concubines for himself, a move that symbolized a claim to the throne. Enraged by the accusation and feeling unappreciated for his loyalty, Abner decided to switch his allegiance to David.
Make an agreement with me, and I will help bring all Israel over to you.
David agreed, and with Abner's support, the tide began to turn in David's favor. However, Abner's defection was short-lived. Shortly after making peace with David, Abner was killed by Joab, David's military commander, in an act of revenge for the death of Joab's brother, Asahel, whom Abner had killed in battle. The death of Abner destabilized Ish-Bosheth's rule, and without his chief military supporter, Ish-Bosheth's grip on power weakened. Eventually, two of Ish-Bosheth's own captains, seeking favor with David, assassinated him while he was resting in his home. They brought his head to David, expecting a reward, but David was outraged by their treachery.
As surely as the Lord lives, who has delivered me out of every trouble, when someone told me, Saul is dead and thought he was bringing good news, I seized him and put him to death. How much more when wicked men have killed an innocent man in his own house and on his own bed? Should I not now demand his blood from your hand and rid the earth of you?
David ordered the execution of the assassins, demonstrating his commitment to justice and his respect for the house of Saul, despite their enmity. With Ish-Bosheth dead, the tribes of Israel came to David at Hebron.
We are your own flesh and blood. In the past, while Saul was king over us, you were the one who led Israel on their military campaigns.
With these words, they anointed David as king over all Israel, uniting the nation under his rule. One of David's first acts as the king of united Israel was to bring the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, symbolizing both political and spiritual unity. However, David's initial attempt to move the Ark was met with tragedy. With great celebration, David and all Israel transported the Ark from the house of Abinadab. But as the ark was being moved, the oxen stumbled, and Uzzah, one of the men guiding the cart, reached out to steady the ark. This act, though well-intentioned, was a violation of God's command that no one should touch the ark, as it was holy. The Lord's anger burned against Uzzah for his irreverent act, and he was struck down on the spot. David was deeply distressed by this incident.
How can the ark of the Lord ever come to me?
Fearing further consequences, David decided not to take the ark into the city of David. Instead, he took it to the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite, where it remained for 3 months. During this time, the Lord blessed Obed-Edom and his household. Seeing these blessings, David's fear turned to determination. He resolved to bring the ark to Jerusalem with great care and reverence. This time, the ark was transported with proper respect and joyous celebration. David, dressed in a linen ephod, danced before the Lord with all his might.
Lift up your heads, you gates, be lifted up, you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in.
As the ark entered the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter and David's wife, looked out the window and saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord, and she despised him in her heart. Later, she confronted David.
How the king of Israel has distinguished himself today, going around half naked in full view of the slave girls of his servants as any vulgar fellow would.
But to David, his dance was an expression of pure worship, a moment where he placed God above all else, including his royal dignity.
It was before the Lord, who chose me rather than your father or anyone from his house when he appointed me ruler over the Lord's people Israel, I will celebrate before the Lord.
Michal's scorn had lasting consequences. She bore no children to the day of her death, a poignant reminder of the rift that had grown between her and David. Despite this personal turmoil, David's heart remained steadfast. The celebration of the ark's arrival ignited a deep sense of purpose within him. He began to envision a permanent dwelling for the Lord, a temple that would reflect the majesty and holiness of God, far beyond the temporary nature of a tent. This vision was born not only from a desire to honor God but also from a yearning to create a lasting legacy for the nation he had united, a place where the people could come to worship and encounter the divine presence. David's heart was set on building a temple for the Lord in Jerusalem. But God had a different plan, revealed through the prophet Nathan.
Are you the one to build me a house to dwell in? The Lord declares to you that the Lord himself will establish a house for you. Your house and your kingdom will endure forever. Before me your throne will be established forever.
Overwhelmed by God's promise, David offered a prayer of thanksgiving.
Who am I, sovereign Lord, and what is my family, that you have brought me this far? And as if this were not enough in your sight, sovereign Lord, you have also spoken about the future of the house of your servant, and this decree, sovereign Lord, is for a mere human.
David's journey from shepherd boy to king of Israel stands as a testament to God's faithfulness and the power of unwavering faith. Through triumph and turmoil, David's story continues to inspire us to trust in God's plan. Join us next time as we delve deeper into the life and legacy of David, the man after God's own heart.